You meet someone, half a second passes, and your brain has already decided, trustworthy or not, friendly or dangerous, before the person has said a single word. It feels like gut instinct. But the real explanation is far stranger. Your brain doesn't judge in seconds, it judges in milliseconds. And that judgment doesn't come from your childhood. It comes from a time when one wrong glance could cost you your life. In 2006, psychologist Alexander Todorov at Princeton University sat people down and showed them faces. Just for a blink, 100 milliseconds. Barely enough time to register anything, and yet participants could instantly judge them. Trustworthy, competent, aggressive. The same answer, no matter how much longer they looked. Why does a blink give you enough? Because your brain isn't learning this task from scratch. It's calling up an ancient program. Picture your ancestors, 200,000 years ago, somewhere on an open savanna. No home with a locked door, no police, no laws, no contracts, just other people. And some of those people wanted to help you. Others wanted your food, or your spot by the fire, or your life. There was no time for a long analysis, no weighing of arguments. Anyone who hesitated too long before sizing up a stranger sometimes didn't get a second chance. So something faster evolved. A visual warning system wired deep into the brain. The amygdala, a small almond-shaped region that detects threat before the conscious mind has even caught up. That's the mechanism still firing today. Only now it's aimed at coworkers, neighbors, dating profiles. Not lions. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. Your judgment barely relies on real evidence. It relies on shape. Psychologist Nalini Ambady at Tufts University studied how little information people actually need to form an opinion. Her research on what's called thin slicing revealed something unsettling. People who watched just 2 seconds of a silent video clip rated teachers almost the same way students did after an entire semester sitting in their classroom. 2 seconds, an entire semester, nearly the same grade. That means your brain isn't gathering evidence. It's recognizing a pattern. And one of the strongest patterns is babyfaceness. Psychologist Leslie Zebrowitz at Brandeis University spent decades studying this phenomenon. Round faces, large eyes, small chins, features we adore in babies because they signal helplessness and harmlessness. Map those same proportions onto an adult face, and your brain fires the same reflex. Trust, warmth, leniency. Sounds harmless. It isn't. Zebrowitz found that people with baby-faced features often receive lighter sentences in court, not because they're less guilty, because their face resembles a child's. Meanwhile, people with sharper, more angular features get flagged as aggressive far more often. Their actual character barely factors in. Their bone structure does. Doesn't that feel deeply unfair? It is. But your brain wasn't built to be fair. It was built to be fast. In a world without laws, speed mattered more than accuracy. A false suspicion cost you a little unnecessary caution. A missing suspicion could cost you everything. So evolution favored the brain that erred on the side of suspicion rather than naivety. That's called error management. Sounds technical. It's actually simple. Your mind prefers the mistake that keeps you alive. And this mechanism doesn't just scan faces, it scans movement, voice, posture, how fast someone walks, how firm someone's handshake is, how deep a voice sounds. All of it processed in milliseconds, long before you're even aware you're observing anything. Here's the question most people never ask. Is this ancient system even accurate anymore? Todorov's later studies offer an uncomfortable answer. People judged as more competent based on their face alone won fictional elections far more often in his experiments. The same pattern showed up in real political races. Candidates with competent-looking faces won more often, regardless of their actual qualifications. Not because voters consciously decide this way. Because the same ancient program is running quietly underneath, disguised as gut feeling. Your brain thinks it's reading character. It's actually reading geometry. And yet you aren't powerless against this system. The first impression is fast. But it isn't final. Once you watch someone longer, talk with them, see their actions, your conscious mind slowly overwrites that first verdict. Studies show that repeated contact can significantly weaken this initial reflex. The problem isn't that a first impression exists. The problem is when it stays the only information you ever gather. Think back to your last job interview, your last date. The moment you glanced at a stranger on the street and instantly felt something, without knowing why. That wasn't intuition in some mystical sense. That was a 200,000-year-old survival program trying to protect you using tools built for a completely different world. A world without resumes, without dating apps, without job interviews. A world where a stranger's face was, quite literally, the only evidence you had. Today, you have more. Much more. But your brain still asks the old system first. Because it's faster. Because it feels safer. Because, statistically, it kept you alive for thousands of years. So the next time you meet someone and feel an instant judgment before a single word is spoken, ask yourself this. Are you really judging this person? Or are you just running an ancient alarm system that still believes you're standing on an open savanna, surrounded by strangers who could decide whether you live or die? You're not really meeting anyone. Not in the first 3 seconds. Your brain is meeting someone who lived 200,000 years ago, and it's still reacting as if the danger is just as real.